Hey, Street Riders, we'll show you how to get your rear in the right place. Coming up right now on Horsepower TV. Today on Horsepower TV, we'll tackle some more street rod mods as we bolt on a new rear end, suspension, and brakes to a classic 39 Buick. We'll take you from the pits to the starting line of a red-hot pro mod shootout, and a special visit to Las Vegas for a sneak peek at what's coming from the high-performance aftermarket. So hang on for Horsepower TV. Welcome to the Horsepower Shop, where today we've got everything from a blown alcohol pro mod we'll see in action later to this show-stopping street rod. Hey, and speaking of street rods, we're going to get things going today by hanging an air ride suspension on a 39 Buick. But no matter what kind of rod you've got, this is a project that carries a lot of merit and uses many of the same procedures. Well, it looks like my partner's already got started here.
Yeah, when we mounted our engine and transmission last time, we soon discovered that the drive shaft wouldn't pass through the stock cross member, so we got rid of it and boxed everything in, as you can see here. Now, I've just about finished with this brake pedal mounting box that we got from Total Cost Involved in California, and once I'm done with it, we can tackle that rear suspension.
All right, good job. Of course, we've used this 39 to show you other street rod mods. First, we added a Fat Man front end with Mustang 2 components. Then we used our engine and crossmember kit to position the engine and trans. Now, before we get started, we got to get rid of some of this old stuff here.
While Joe's making a new home for it, I'm going to start building up our Ford 9-inch rear end. Now, it needed to be narrowed just a little bit to fit our Buick, and of course the axles needed to be shortened and re-splined. Of course, we gave those specs to Moser Engineering when we placed our order. Of course, we could go ahead and build this rear end up by rolling it around on the floor, but I got to tell you, this little stand-up fixture from Bonks sure makes life a whole lot easier.
We also found it's a lot easier to build up the rear end when the ring, pinion, and posi are already set. Now, we decided on a 350 gear with a limited slip differential for the Buick, so we call Precision Gear, and they set up the critical pinion depth and backlash dimensions, plus added a True Track posi.
All right, the housing's secure. I guess we're ready for that center section now.
Here it is, and it is heavy.
I need your opinion. Which way's up on this gasket?
Man, would you get your rear end in gear for a change?
Hey. Don't make me wring your pinion now.
Oh, man, hurry up.
There. You satisfied? Here, let me give you a hand.
Gee, thanks.
All right, that ought to do it. Now, the 9-inch Ford is pretty bulletproof on its own, but we added some extra insurance by having our axles machined for these 31 splines. Now, on the other end, we had Moser install these grade 8 half-inch studs here to handle any heavy-footed launches we might come up with. Now, the axle just slides down the tube like this, and it's held in place with a special caliper bracket and this retaining plate.
That 39 Buick is a heavyweight hot rod, a lot of pre-war steel. So we decided to run disc all the way around. Now, the kit we got from Willwood includes caliper brackets here. These are the calipers, brake pads, rotors, and since we've got to be street legal with this thing, we even got this parking brake set up.
Man, that's a great looking kit. And you know, since we've already got discs on the front of that thing, hauling down that heavyweight should be no problem. Now, to make it all work, I went ahead and ordered this adjustable proportioning valve here. Now, I'm going to use it to balance the front to rear brake bias. We'll get around to mounting it later on, but what do you say we go ahead and mount this hardware on the rear end right now?
Let's break away.
First, we mount the caliper brackets, then the retaining plate using grade 8 hardware. Next, the rotor, then the caliper with pads, and finally the parking brake caliper.
Well, now that we got the rear end all assembled, we're about ready to do some fabricating to get it mounted up.
Plus, we'll have some tips on how to plumb your brakes right after this.
See what happens when a band of blown alcohol bandits invade a track in Tennessee. It's a pro mod shootout with heavy firepower. Plus, later it's off to SEMA to see what's gonna be hot in the high-performance aftermarket.
Welcome back. Now, while you were gone, I went ahead and had both these trailing arms sandblasted, and I've already modified one by cutting about 4 inches off of the end, then adding this adjustable bushing. Now, on the underside, we went ahead and boxed it in by adding this steel plate here. Now, that's going to give us a lot of additional strength. Of course, once all the modifications are done, we're going to be able to bolt everything up to the rear end using these stock U-bolts.
Mounting our master cylinder and booster under the floorboard here where they're well protected. Now you'll notice the proportioning valve's been attached to the frame with the knob underneath so we can make adjustments later. Now it's time to start thinking about how we want to plumb our brake lines. Now when you do this, there are several things to consider. First of all, keep them away from any rotating parts and give them plenty of room away from hot exhaust pipes. Also, you want to attach them to the frame with something like these 8L clamps we're using. Of course, billet ones are cool too.
Earlier, we determined the center line of the old axle, and we marked that location on the frame. Now, we're going to use a plumb bob to help us get the new rear end in the same location. That rear end's already up on jack stands, and with it in proper ride height, it'll help us determine the forward attaching points for the trailing arms. We're ready to start fabricating our rear crossmember and front trailing arm mounts. Now, we've already cut our square 2x2 tubing to the right length to fit between the frame rails here. Now, all we have to do is raise up our trailing arm to position the cross member, and we can tack it into place.
We're going to use this stock track bar to keep our axle centered up under the car. Now it attaches to this bracket here we got off the old rear end. Since we got ours pretty much into position, we can go ahead and tack weld this bracket into place.
Well, we're going to bring that old Buick right into the 90s with a trick air suspension system. Now, it's fully adjustable so you get the ride height and ride quality that you want while you're going up and down the road. And then, of course, once you get where you're going, man, you can slam that baby in the weeds. Now, the stock coils are replaced with this unique air spring assembly, and as you can see, it's built a lot like a tire. It's actually got reinforcing cords molded right in. Now, the air to raise and lower your vehicle is provided by a remote compressor.
Now this whole setup comes from Air Ride Technologies in Jasper, Indiana, and it includes the shocks, brackets, well, all the hardware you need to make it work. And speaking of that, let's get back to it.
After drilling a hole in the frame, we just feed the line through like this.
Okay, well, I got brackets mounted on our spring here.
There's your line.
Thank you. And it just fits right in like so. Let's mount it up. There we go.
Get this top nut started here.
Okay, now the spring just centers itself up on the mount here, and we can weld it up later.
One of the final steps is mounting the shocks, and once again, you want to make sure that you let common sense be your guide. Keep them away from any rotating or hot objects, and also make sure they don't put your suspension in a bind.
Good advice. Then all you have to do is run your air lines, install the compressor, and you're done. Meanwhile, I hate to let you down, get it? But we got to take a break and pay some bills. We'll be right back. Next, hang on for some 4-second 8-mile madness.
It makes for a fun ride.
It's a Pro Mod shootout with the baddest blown alcohol bandits. What you're looking at may be the world's fastest supercharged Trans Am door slammer, a 2,000-plus horsepower Pro Mod monster built by Joe and Michael Urini from Tucker, Georgia. Now, this thing races with a group called the Southern Supercharged Outlaws. As you're about to see, when these bandits hit town, they always steal the show. These outlaws may not carry 6 guns, but they're sure loaded with lots of firepower, enough to shatter records at 8-mile tracks around the South and beyond.
The record setter here is a 433 at 170 miles an hour, and today, I think we'll have it broken today.
Pro mod racers seem to have two things in common. They like to go real fast, and they don't like a lot of rules. Now, these guys are running blown alcohol engines that make up to 2,500 horses, so when they hit this 8th-mile track, don't blink or you'll miss the race.
It makes for a fun ride.
It's something that gives you inside a thrill, just being head-to-head, toe-to-toe, to compete with the best, and that's who we run against, is the best.
Joel Moore's been racing Pro Mod since its beginnings back in the 1980s. Now he and his 66 vet ride together with this band of outlaws who terrorize tracks and thrill spectators everywhere they go. Now, a Pro Mod car essentially is a door slammer with a funny car motor thrown in it. Sounds simple, but making it all work isn't.
It's a balancing act. Put enough fuel in it not to burn, but leave enough out for it to really run. You know, when you're talking 2,500 horsepower, which is what we're making, Outlaw, you know, you can break something just like that, axle, drive shaft, and it's all critical.
Cutting a great light is also critical, particularly on an 8-mile track with a 4.0 tree.
If you're somewhere in the 420 range on your light, you stand a pretty good chance. Anything better than that's usually just guessing.
As qualifying runs continued, I noticed most cars were running blown big blocks, like this 526 Hemi. That is all except Jason Scruggs' 63 Vet with a small block.
Whenever we decided to do this deal, that's all, we had small block parts and you know, that's all we knew how to work on ourselves, so that's what we did and went from there. We just kind of sneaked up on it over the 3 years.
As the sun went down on the last round of qualifying, the stands started filling up with racing fans ready for a rumble. Pro Mod has become synonymous with chest-pounding, ear-shattering horsepower at its competitive best, and the fans love it.
That's what actually led me to form this group and bring drag racing to the fans and bring the joy of drag racing and the smoky burnouts and the loud motors and what real drag racing is. Go for it!
After 2 rounds of eliminations, the final shootout would be a battle of experience against youth. The veteran Yarini, whose opponent red lights here, against Scruggs, who breaks the track record with the second round 4:14 at 171 miles an hour.
We had trouble getting down the racetrack, so we detuned the motor a little bit, and the quickest we've been with this combination has been a 17. So that was the quickest run with this combination.
Now all you got to do is repeat that and win this whole event, right?
Yes, sir. If we can do that, we'll be all right.
Well, I just hope I can pull some little cat out of the bag. Now, we have run some high 420, so we'll have to do something with the light.
Well, it was the younger outlaw who robbed the race, Scruggs winning with a 447 at 157. But what a night for these Pro Mod bandits and their bad blown alcohol machines. Desperados of drag racing who steal the show at strips throughout the land.
Man, that's some cool stuff. Now, Joe and I will meet you in Las Vegas for a special edition of Hot Parts right after this.
Any bets on what's going to be hot for high performance? Next, we'll head to a secret show in Vegas that's like a hot rodder's candy store. Stay tuned.
Now, Horsepower's Hot Parts, brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment, your source for high-performance parts for 30 years.
Hey, welcome back to the show and to America's playground, Las Vegas. Of course, this is the home of bright lights, fast fortunes, and beautiful showgirls. But we're not here for that, right?
We're not. I mean, we're not. We're here for the SEMA Show. Now, it's America's largest expo of high-performance hardware.
Imagine the coolest cars and the hottest parts of the near future all compressed into 1 million square feet at the Hilton Convention Center. This SEMA Show's a must place to go for buyers, and once again, we're sneaking you in for an eyeful. How are we doing so far?
This show continues to grow every year, both in size and scope. Now, there are thousands of new products here, some of which you could be bolting on your car in a few months.
That's right, and it's amazing how many companies are diversifying their product lines. For instance, B&M, who built their reputation by building high-performance transmissions. Now they're shifting some of their attention to high-performance ignitions. Now this one is for cars that have the latest OE computers.
Yeah, and some of their more traditional transmission hardware is finding homes in not so traditional places. Scatter shield for a Honda Civic?
Speaking of non-traditional, man, when was the last time you saw a 54 Plymouth that looked like this one? Now it's on display at the Flowmaster booth, and it's got a set of their latest mufflers on it, and well, they employ this Delta Flow technology that'll help keep down the resonance inside of your car.
But if you want to reduce the strut flex in your hot rod Honda, well, Moroso's got you covered with their new front strut tower braces. Or if you want to increase its horsepower, what about this aluminum racing pan?
Racing Hondas? You see some kind of trend here?
It's not a coming thing anymore. It's here now, and we're stepping right into it. And the first thing that we've done here is with our exhaust system, and it's going right across the United States. It's not just in Southern California anymore.
Now, that doesn't mean that Edelbrock's forgotten about good old-fashioned American horsepower. Check out this air gap RPM intake for small block Chevys. Now, it's a dual plane design for a good bottom end, and the air gap eliminates that heat crossover for a cooler, denser charge and more horsepower.
Here's something new and hot for you Mopar guys. It's an aluminum head for small block Chryslers. It's got high flow ports and 202 160 valves, and well, since it's less weight, it'll be like putting your Dodge on a diet.
Diet? Man, I don't want to go on a diet. I want to have my cake and eat it too, and so can you owners of late model small block Chevys. Now, this roller rocker from Urson Cams replaces the stock rail type rockers perfectly, and the best part is, fits under the original valve cover. Plus, I found this trick fuel log that'll fit any dual feed Holly. It's got a built-in pressure regulator up here and a place for a pressure gauge back here.
Hey, the guys at Lakewood haven't forgotten about you Ford guys. If you got a 96 to 98 Mustang with a modular motor, well, here's a new bell housing that allows you to adapt a top loader, Tremec, or Jericho transmission to it.
Here's a new spin on clutch technology. Centerforce has developed a new clutch package for the Plymouth Neon. It includes the flywheel, clutch disc, and pressure plate all in one. I gotta tell you, it gives a whole new meaning to the term get a grip.
When most people see this name, they think cams and other valve train components, but how's this for a jolt? It's Crane's new High 6 DSR ignition with a built-in 2-stage rev limiter. Now it uses state-of-the-art surface-mount electronics, and again, they're not just for American applications. Got them for these imports too.
Man, they've even got something for us hogheads, and I ain't talking about my hat size either. Check out this voltage regulator for Harleys now. It'll keep your battery fully charged even while you're just putting around town. Plus, it's got its own charger to keep your battery hot while your putt is parked.
Well, you keep it parked right there. We'll be back after we pay some bills. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Horsepower TV and to the SEMA Show in Las Vegas. Now, if you want to stay ahead of the pack, well, you want to check this out. It's the latest twisted wedge head from TrickFlow. Now, it's got new combustion chambers and revised valve stem angles for even more power. Plus, this fully machined valve cover rail means no more oil leaks.
There aren't many secrets to leak from this show about what's coming from the aftermarket. Just more stuff, more options, and more choices for foreign and domestic hot rodding. Picking the right parts may still be a gamble, but here's a sure bet. The future of high performance is bigger and brighter than it's been in years.
Of course, hot parts are the stars here, but they all come together in cool cars like this one.
Yeah, it's a red-hot Chevelle convertible parked in the trim parts booth, and it's only one example of the many tricks and trends that comprise our high-performance lifestyle.
Hey, we got to get our high-performance tails back to the airport, but first, a look at next week's Horsepower TV.
More Project Blue Thunder with a new rear end for our 71 Chevelle, along with suspension pieces and a new fuel system. We'll go to the track, show you how to run with the top guns on a paltry budget. And we'll help you get ahead of the exhaust game with some header tech.
Hey, we'll see you next week back at the shop.
And remember, high-performance fun is what this show is all about. Hey, do you have the keys for this thing?
Oh, I guess that would help.
Yeah.
Ah, here they are.
You know, we might should have asked permission from the driver or the owner of this car.
We'll just leave it at valet park.
Okay. Hey, it won't start.
The battery's dead.
Oh, no. Call a cab.
Did you leave the lights on?
Horsepower TV is an RTM production.